Adenogba was one of the richest men in Nigeria. He joyfully lived in Lagos Island, stood the mansion of the Adenogba family, a grand structure adorned with exquisite art pieces and lush gardens. The family's wealth was evident, as was their reputation. Adenogba, the patriarch, was a powerful businessman known for his sharp mind and unwavering determination. He had built an empire, and in his eyes, his children were extensions of his legacy. Among his children was Dorcas, the jewel of the family. With her radiant beauty and keen intellect, she captured the admiration of all who met her. Dorcas was not only the apple of her father's eye but also his chosen successor. He appointed her to head one of his companies, confident in her abilities to thrive in the corporate world. Years passed, and Dorcas found love in Michael, a charming entrepreneur and heir to one of Nigeria's most affluent families. Their wedding was a grand affair, celebrated by the elite of Lagos, and the couple seemed destined for happiness. However, shadows loomed over their joy as the years rolled by. 2 years into their marriage, the couple faced a heart-wrenching challenge. Dorcas struggled to conceive. As time progressed, Michael's demeanor changed. Once affectionate and supportive, he became distant and resentful. He placed the blame on Dorcas, whose inability to bear a child led to arguments that pierced the fabric of their relationship. The once vibrant mansion turned into a silent stage of sorrow, with Dorcas feeling the weight of her father's expectations and her husband's disappointment. In a moment of optimism, Dorcas approached Michael one evening, her hands shaking slightly as she revealed the results of a pregnancy test. "Michael, I'm pregnant," she exclaimed, her eyes glimmering with hope. The joy that filled her heart seemed boundless, and for a fleeting moment, it ignited a spark of excitement in Michael. He embraced her, and they celebrated throughout the night, the walls of their mansion echoing with laughter and dreams of parenthood. Months later, Dorcas gave birth to a healthy baby boy. The joyous occasion called for a grand naming ceremony, and the Adenogba family, alongside Michael's affluent relatives, gathered in Michael's family mansion for the festivities. The child was lovingly named after Michael's late grandfather, Chief Paul. The celebration was sumptuous and unforgettable, filled with laughter, music, and promises of a bright future for the child. Yet, the blissful atmosphere quickly faded a year later when tragedy struck. The baby mysteriously disappeared. Despite the mansion's heavy security, the child vanished without a trace. Panic enveloped the family, and they convened meetings that lasted late into the night, anxiously awaiting a phone call from anyone who might provide clues or a ransom demand. Days turned into weeks, and hope began to wither. After exhaustive searches and the involvement of police, a month later, Michael received a shocking call. It was Matthew, his best friend and confidant, who delivered devastating news that shattered the remnants of Michael's resolve. "Michael," Matthew said, his voice heavy with gravity, "I have good news and bad news. I fathered your missing child, and he is with me." Michael's words stopped. He could hardly process Matthew's words. He dialed Dorcas, who was in the midst of an earnest conversation with her uncle about their search for the child. "Dorcas, listen to me," Michael said, his voice tremulous with fury and disbelief. He relayed Matthew's revelation, and the conversation escalated into a heated argument. "What do you mean you didn't tell me? How could you betray me like this?" Michael shouted, his emotions overwhelming him. Dorcas tried to reason, but the accusation spiraled into chaos, each word fueling the other's anger. "It's not my fault," she cried, desperation lacing her voice. In a blind fury, rooted in betrayal and not fully grasping the consequences of his actions, Michael stormed to his room. Moments later, he reappeared with a silver medal, a reflection of the darkness that had clouded his heart. Before Dorcas could utter another word, the weapon discharged, sending a chilling silence throughout the mansion. Dorcas fell to the floor, the life extinguished from her eyes. Michael stood frozen, the reality of his actions crashing down upon him like a tidal wave. What had begun as a life filled with promise and grace had spiraled into a nightmarish tragedy, forever altering the paths of their intertwined lives. In the days that followed, the mansion echoed with loss and regret. The vibrant energy that once filled its halls had been replaced with an unsettling stillness. Michael was left grappling with the consequences of his moment of rage, haunted by the choice he made that fateful night. In his quest to understand the depths of his despair, he realized that love can turn to darkness, and sometimes, the shadows creep in where they are least expected.